if you want to deliver the surplus we spoke about in 10 years or earlier, you have to either bring down that spending, and it doesn't have to be in cutting aged care, whatever it might be. You find other areas, or you say, this is the new normal, ageing population, whatever it might be, we need to increase taxes, because otherwise you retain a structural deficit. And that means unless you're having a great year, you have a deficit.
Well, that's how are you going to sell that, though? How are you going to sell increasing taxes? There's another way of doing it, which I suspect is what the Treasurer's plan would be beyond the next election. And that plan would be to grow the economy faster. If you grow the economy faster, a lot of the ills of your spending disappear very, very quickly. But for that, you've got to have the Chinese government basically stimulating its economy. You've got to get the Chinese consumers back in spending. But one thing I did do is just talk about this issue about households. They've been in recession for 2 years now. And so personal recession. So the important aspect of this is really, and one other aspect of it, is that the government has basically taken in almost $18 to $19 billion of extra taxes in this financial year since the budget. And yet in the first year of the stage 3 tax cuts, $20 billion. So let's go to a question I asked the Treasurer about this as to whether he's the Treasurer who's giving with one hand but taking with the other.
The reason why I don't agree with that is because the number that you refer to is bigger than tax. And so I think the tax upgrades in this mid-year update, if you take out, well, the Commonwealth upgrades, which take out the GST and some of the other things, about $7.3 billion. And that's about a third of the tax cuts, and it's less than a tenth of the average upgrade over the last 4 updates. And so we've had a very, very small upgrade to revenue, nothing like we've become accustomed to in the last few, and so the income tax cuts are much bigger than that. And I'd also say that it's not coming necessarily from the same places. Ordinarily, not in this update, we've had a write-down in company taxes, but in the last few updates before this, one of the big drivers has been company taxes. And so it's not quite comparing apples with apples. We're providing income tax relief for every Australian taxpayer for good reason, to give them a bit of help with the cost of living, also to return bracket creep in the way that makes the most economic sense. And we're proud that those tax cuts are flowing right now because we took a political risk to deliver them, but we know that they're doing good.
So, Tom, that's an interesting argument for households to think about because they're still feeling the pinch despite the tax cuts, despite those energy bill relief that the government's already handed out.